What's up, y'all? It's your boy, the one and only A Switch, aka who left a damn swig of Kool-Aid without refilling it, aka who keep taking the damn bread, not even eating the ends of it. Just gonna leave it. AKA the undisputed, uncontested social distancing champion, AKA the nigga lip master. Bringing you yet another episode of Switch Sites. Episode 98. Today's date is April 1st, 2021. Just letting you guys know, I am now a father. Expecting my child anytime now. I couldn't even do it. Couldn't even do it. My mixer is still messed up. Either way. Yeah, so at least from the gaming news standpoint, nothing necessarily revolutionary or stood out for the most part this week. A couple of tidbits, but at least somewhat of a lighter news week this week. So in turn, probably get a lighter episode. But I don't know. I'll probably go fully into Monster Hunter Rise, since I played a good amount of it, a very good amount of it since last episode. So anyway, without further ado, let's stop the dilly-dallying and get right into it. First topic of discussion. So, you know that event that used to be so, I don't know, I guess established, renowned as like, I guess, I mean, depending on how you look at it, the Super Bowl of video games to an extent in terms of the, I guess, amount of people in terms of eyes looking at it, E3. So, you know, due to recent events, COVID, as well as, I guess mainly partially COVID, partially them like revealing all of like journalists and publishing, not publishing, journalists and media's information who signed up with the ESA. Yeah, their E3 is not in good shape as of late. But I don't know, this might be the additional nail in the coffin, if anything. But let's just read this tidbit here. This is according to VGC. As reported in February, organizer, the Entertainment Software Association ESA, is pushing forward with plans for a digital E3 event this summer, and is attempting to court the support of game publishers. The event, which will rebrand as Electronic Entertainment, oh God, Experience. It's only necessary. Experience. I'm gonna let that marinate one more time. Electronic Entertainment Experience. Okay. Instead of Expo, it's planned to run for a week starting June 13th and incorporate 3 days of broadcast content followed by a consumer experience powered by an official E3 app. The ESA's intention of the 2021 show is to hold multiple keynote sessions from games partners, broadcast from an LED clad. Oh, okay. I guess so. That's kind of a weird aspect to focus on, LED, but whatever. Broadcast from an LED clad live stage built in Los Angeles, as well as an award show preview night, and the ability for companies to schedule meetings with media and business users via the app. The ESA wants to partner with NVIDIA to power the demos using its GeForce Now platform. VGC understands and allow E3 exhibitors to make their playable experiences available either in the general public or privately to press and business people via its app. VGC has requested comment from NVIDIA. According to our sources, the ESA has discussed building some parts of its consumer offering as parts of a paid access pass, which could be for the on-demand game demos or premium package with extra access. However, at least one major games company VGC spoke to expressed criticism of the paywall plans and suggested that the ESA has indicated it was willing to back down on the proposal. So probably the biggest yikes of this is for sure this, at least as of now, proposed or explored idea of a paywall where you basically, it seems like presumably you're going to have to pay for on-demand game demos, and demos in any other environment outside of E3 would be free for people to test and mess with. But at least in the context of electronic entertainment experience, it will it was so ridiculous. Got me had allergic reaction. That it would now require you to pay to play, essentially, which is not a good look. And then on top of that, well, I guess it's still roughly in that same umbrella, a premium package with extra access. So it seems to kind of be an extension of, like, I guess the previous E3s before COVID, or the last few E3s before COVID, where you general public can pay to attend E3, but I think it is a few days after, and you basically can explore roughly in the same extent as the media, but media still gets an exclusive day or two, I think. I don't know, man. That, I mean, in of itself, that's just not right and not a good look for E3 in general, especially when you compare it to Jeff Keighley's event last year, Summer Games event, I want to say, Summer Games Fest, where he legitimately had, and I would say orchestrated a whole event where people can play demos and stuff that would have potentially been shown at E3, free, of course, first and foremost. So yeah, not a good look at all. Just the fact that they're exploring it, even if they don't follow through with it, I don't know, it's kind of already made them look even worse than they already are looking currently. So we'll see what happens, but ooh boy, a huge big ass yikes because of just trying to get any type of money they can. It's not a good look. Not a good look at all. So there's your proposed E3 for this year. I'm very curious to see how like what companies that at least were formerly attending E3 and stuff, if they're still gonna stick with it this year. I definitely assume a lot are definitely gonna either maybe go with Keeley's event with the Summer Games Fest now, or I don't know. It's not looking too good for E3. I think E3 that we all knew and loved is pretty much gone at this point. Cause it's funny now that we don't even have a venue anymore. At least this for next year. It just seems like this is definitely going the way of yeah, just going. It is definitely not the E3 we knew anymore, which is kind of sad as at least somebody who grew up watching E3 and like it always delivering for the most part in some way, shape, or form, as somebody who likes and appreciates a wide range of video games. It's sad. It's like a part of your childhood. It's kind of like what like Toys R Us closing, Blockbuster closing, you name any other X company that you used to grow up with and had fond memories of closing. Could definitely be it. So I hate to say it, but unless they do something very pivotal and like I don't know, just something to not make it this. I don't know. It's RIP3, lest we knew ye. RIP. RIP. Moving on. Say 30. So that topic we talked about last episode in regards to PlayStation Store closing, at least now has officially been confirmed as of the 29th. PlayStation, I mean, they had no choice at this point. Everybody was in outrage, and they definitely need to say something. So they just straight up confirmed it. PlayStation 3 and PSP store will close July 2nd. On Vita on August 27th. You can still re-download previously purchased content and games redeemed through PS Plus. There will be no more actual purchases and no more in-game purchases. So pretty much most of those rumors did solidify in that case. So boy, the clock time is limited, at least to buy them PS3 games, them more or less essential ones, the ones you can't get anywhere. At least a couple that come to the top of my head. I mean, Demon Souls, the remake came out, but I mean, if you're a purist or just like to explore Demon Souls before it got remade, there's your opportunity there. I mean, technically there is physical versions, and I guess that's one thing I'm curious about. I would assume that's intact, where patches and stuff for existing games, I would assume that's still up and running and still feasible. But yeah, that sucks. And I also heard that PS Vita, which has actually gotten a surprising amount of indie support as well, as that's now kind of on its way to be extinct. Well, at least a lot of developers that were developing for the PS Vita still knowing and hearing about this news, because I think they got dev units within the last year, and then now I think because they got blindsided by it as well, that the store is closing, so there's really no way for them to release the game now, so they just are basically ending development for those games that were at least initially planned to be released and to come out on the PS Store, but that is now long gone, which is horrible. Like I said last episode, just basically from a game preservation standpoint, which at least I'm definitely for sure an advocate for. Yeah, that's pretty concerning, if anything. If it's gonna happen with these consoles, I mean, if that's any indication, man, what's gonna happen to PS4, PS5 down the road? But I mean, I understand for a lot of other people, going back to older games and things like that is not a preference. People don't do it if you're not like really, I guess, more or less into games like that. Odds are of you going back to games is, not that great. But still, for the people that do and, like to catch up on games they missed out on, I know I do that from time to time as well. It is a huge bummer. A lot of games now are kind of going to be obsolete. Physical games for like PS1 games, I hear already they're like hiking up in price now, considering that they are going to be the only way really to play these games technically if they PlayStation does have anything up their sleeve come E3 or, well, I like to say E3, whatever popular summer event is, well, I guess summer game event. I guess that's, since there's so many under under that umbrella. But yeah, it's really messed up. But I would like to give PlayStation the benefit of the doubt that they may have something up their sleeve where they maybe will be continuing support or, bringing PS2, PS3, well, maybe not PS3, but at least PS1 and PS2 games, maybe transferring those games to PS5 to probably encourage people, one, to get a PS5 as well as, what am I thinking of? Well, yeah, I guess so it won't be as a big of a detriment for somebody that doesn't have a PS3 that won't be able to play those games that they would. And yeah, that'd be the best scenario. But knowing PlayStation and, at least previous experiences, does not seem to be too likely, considering how they at least seem to, I don't know, have been treating like backwards compatibility for the most part. Like, I'm trying to, like, especially the time frame when you think about it, like literally three months we have to, get whatever digital games that we cared about before they closed the store. So that seems very extreme to do that, knowing, well, considering how dire that is, because like you basically won't be able to purchase any games within 3 months from now. So it's like either they have something planned to replace this, or they just really just don't care about backwards compatibility older games. So I don't know. Part of me really hopes it's the latter, where they or the former, where they really would, they do have some plan to actually like transfer the preservation of these digital games to PlayStation 5 some way. We'll see, but it's not looking too good. At least in the best scenario, Sony gets up on stage. Guys, we can't. This guy keeps coming back. Okay, help. Guys, we've heard you. PlayStation has always been fond and respects its previous generations. It's how we got here, and it's how we know where we're going. With that in mind, we proudly announce PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, maybe a little bit of PlayStation 3, backwards compatibility. Any physical media for PlayStation you have, you can play on your PlayStation 5 that has a disc tray, or, the standard edition PlayStation 5 with a disc drive. You can play all of your previously purchased digital content on your PlayStation 5. And it will roll out today. Ideal situation, but I honestly, the pessimist in me does not think that's going to happen. So we'll see, though. We'll see. For just preservation's sake, I really hope they do. Because, I mean, that's PlayStation 3 had a very good digital library. So it's hard for me to see them not continuing that in any way, shape, or form. They could potentially just charge us more or charge us again, like, Nintendo. I don't know, man. Let's not even talk about Nintendo, how they just killing games and doing the whole Disney Vault mentality. Ugh, disgusting. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it all. So sick of it. With that depressingness news in mind, that concludes pretty much all the news, so at least the news that stood out to me for this week. So we gonna get into it. To clear the palate, we gonna get into what I've been playing. And do I even have to tell you, though? Do I even have to tell you? Monster Hunter Rise, literally the only thing I've been playing for good reason. Man, where do I even start with this game? First and foremost, it is fantastic. Let me just get that out the way. Fantastic. Magnifique so far. And I guess a little bit of context, I guess, to, at least provide my origins and association with the series beforehand. I started out with Monster Hunter. Actually, I think I talked about this a little bit, but either way, started out on Monster Hunter on the PSP with Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. It was I think I talked about it, but it was a summer where didn't have any consoles, at least how I was working at I used to work at Cedar Point, and yeah, you were pretty limited in their housing, where they had horrible, atrocious internet. You couldn't really necessarily set up a console ideally. So I ultimately, that got me really into portable games, where I got a PSP, played some classics like Crisis Core. I think it just came out around that time. And also, at least my friends' roommates at the time, we got Monster Hunter. And this is my first time playing Monster Hunter. I was getting my ass whooped. And then, it started eventually just clicking, and I was really enjoying it. And then I just kept following the series after that. I think after that, the Wii versions came out. So I got the one, I think, Try for the Wii. And then I think Try Ultimate for the Wii U. And then I want to say, and I think it was, they went back to portable. They went to, I think 4 came out on the 3DS. So I picked that up. And it's pretty much been that ever since. So, man, if I could think of total playtime across the whole series, good God. Part of me doesn't want to see that, but I'd have to say, if anything, for sure, over 1,000 hours collectively across all the games, hands down, for certain. So at least kind of having that in mind, that's kind of at least my reference point coming into Monster Hunter. It is kind of similar to Dark Souls in that sense, where it's very, it has a very steep learning curve, and it doesn't, at least the earlier games don't really explain or teach you the little nuances and stuff that do make a very um, integral aspect of like the gameplay in a lot of cases. Um, but once you get it, you get it. I feel like it's kind of like a bike where you once you learn it, you got it. So that's at least my personal experience with it. So coming into that and going into Rise, I'm literally very surprised by a lot of things with this game. Like I guess first is it doesn't feel like a downgrade to Monster Hunter World, which is that was my biggest concern, I'd say. But it literally like the graphical quality is really good, especially for a Switch game. The loading is very quick, which I guess you can technically attribute to the Switch's infrastructure, but I mean still considering the Switch's infrastructure, and you got like next gen consoles now, it is surprisingly very quick and fast. So something with that I guess restructured RE engine for the Nintendo has been doing wonders. It definitely makes you think that we might see like Resident Evil, like the ports of Resident Evil 2, 3 remakes eventually getting ported in some way, because Jesus, the for even for a Switch game, the graphics look really good. So it also definitely, you could definitely see there's a lot of potential for this to be upgraded to like if that rumor Switch Pro comes into is all the rumors are true, this definitely will benefit greatly from that upgrade. So yeah. What else? Um yeah, like I feel like they made all the right decisions in terms of what to cut from World to Rise, where obviously how Monster Hunter World is structured, it definitely would never work on the Switch, and that's why I think Capcom officially stated that there would not be a port of World to Switch. So but yeah, it's like all of the stuff they did made sense and like totally wasn't a detriment to the game. If you played World, or World was your first Monster Hunter game you got into, whatever. So that's one thing I was very surprised that like felt really good. But then again, I was like jumping back to Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate before this, and that's probably what I've been still playing over World for the most part. So again, my reference may be totally different from yours in terms of your experience with this game, but yeah, the mobility is really fun. A very welcome addition. You definitely feel very agile, and yeah, you feel you're definitely the most agile you've ever been in this game. In this series for sure with this game, to a point where I think even people who maybe didn't even like World might actually like this one, because I feel like it in turn makes the game a little bit easier even than World, where you have more options to get out of horrible situations essentially, which I think that's kind of what the Monster Hunter, I guess, formula kind of thrives on in terms of like difficulty, because at least especially for the previous games, like something that's so minute but actually is really huge is like healing, at least how Monster Hunter World introduced healing, where you can actually move while you heal. But in the previous Monster Hunters, you had to stand in place and you had to meticulously calculate a monster's patterns, and wait for a moment where he does attack. Okay, I know for sure he can't come over here with that attack and how long it's going to take. Let me take this potion while he's doing that. Let me eat this steak, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of that being removed, but technically replaced because now the monsters have kind of adapted to that as well. So it's a lot of give and take there, but that's definitely one aspect that I am very surprised by, how they even made things even way easier from World to Rise now. At least especially it seems like the quests are more lenient now. Urgents now you collectively can all do together, where you don't have to do it for each person that wants to rank up, which I think is huge. I'm pretty sure that wasn't in World. I think each person still had to complete the urgent. I could be wrong in that, but at least it seems like that's a new addition to Rise. So there's at least supposedly that. And then what was the other factor? I think that was really big. Oh yeah, like something that's kind of, I guess for most people, or especially somebody who just hopped in this game first, will never notice. But like for a long time Monster Hunter fans, it's like that's huge as hell. Where now you literally, you no longer have hot drinks and cold drinks. So that's one big, in the grand scheme of things, a very arbitrary, like tedious thing to have to like factor in and worry about. But it was in the game either way. But so essentially there's generally two areas in the game, or locales, if you will, that are, I guess, set up later in the game, where there's a sandy desert and then a frost area, snow area. And for each of those, as well as like I guess the volcano like areas, you would have to use the appropriate drink for that scenario. So like if you're in the snowy lands, you would need to bring hot drinks. If you're in the Sahara Desert, whatever, you would need to bring a cold drink. So pretty much that is just when I think about it, it's really just like a very arbitrary thing. So it does totally make sense they cut it out, but just another thing to worry about. So like, let's say if you do go into the snowy lands and you don't have a hot drink, your stamina will go down way quicker than if you did. So yeah, it was just, when you think about it, it's just very arbitrary, which is understandable. But a part of me is like, just weird Stockholm-y, I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah, I guess just masochistic thing I think I talked about before. It's like, I kind of miss it a little bit, but the more I've been playing, I was like, this actually is pretty nice. So, yeah, so I mean, little stuff like that they've done. I think also, I believe it does kind of feel like it, where the item requirements to craft weapons and armor and stuff is a little bit more lenient now, even compared to World, which is actually pretty good as well for, people jumping into this one also. Yeah, so I mean, trying to think of it as somebody who's trying to never played Monster Hunter before and wants to jump in on this series, I think this is definitely by far the best entry point in Monster Hunter for a new person. If you played Monster Hunter World and didn't like it and couldn't get into it, I don't know if Rise would change your mind. Because I mean, it's still a lot of those aspects of the game that if you didn't like World, I don't think this would necessarily change your mind. It's very hard to say. I would say the biggest difference and maybe X factor that would maybe make you like it is the mobility and also exploration. I forgot about that. That's a huge part of the game now, where you're essentially rewarded now for exploring the map before fighting the monster. You basically get health, stamina, attack up, and I think affinity bonuses basically added to your max health for each of those respective areas, where you get these little birds that they basically buff up your those respective stats, which is, you know, obviously there to encourage you to explore the area. And then you also get the, I think they're referred to as either endemic life, or I think they're changed now. I think that was world, but you essentially get that now where you can basically, they essentially replace a lot of the items you would have to craft and stuff, it felt like, because you have this cool little spider that you can pick up in the environment that will instantly make a monster mountable. I totally forgot about that. I guess we'll get back to that in a bit, but you have that. You have a escargot, which is a snail that like heals, similar to the health vial in Monster Hunter World, where it basically just employs a field where you can heal up for a certain amount of time. It seems to be pretty generous, about like an hour or so. Not an hour. I mean, about like a minute and a half. It felt like, could be two. So you have like those creatures, and then so back to the mounting. The mounting is it's probably the best it's ever been personally, I feel. Cause now you can, like, you know, fulfill that kaiju fetish, I guess, I don't know, where you can basically literally control the monster and make it do particular actions and fight other monsters and stuff, which is pretty cool. So that kind of, it feels like a very welcome evolution of the initial mounting system from, you know, the previous Monster Hunter games now. So now it's like you can get on them, and then you can either like have them hit itself and, you know, ram the wall, or you can have them hit other monsters, or you can get real deep into it where you can like hit them a couple times, and then like your last hit, you can actually ram them into the monster, and then that monster can actually be put into a more than like, I think it depends on the monster health or whatever, but more than likely will be put into a mountable state as well. And then you can, if you got 3 monsters, you can like keep that train going, which it did actually happen once, which was pretty damn fun, to be honest. So yeah, I really love that addition to this game. It is very welcome. It is so damn awesome. And it's fair. It doesn't seem like you can like exploit it or anything like that. It seems like, because at least in a traditional monster hunt, you have to do a lot of that particular damage, which you can do with a couple of attacks now, which they refer to as silk bind attacks, which I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like a mix of the hunter arts from Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, as well as, I guess that's really it. It's kind of like a loose form of hunter arts, if you will. That's kind of the best reference I could say. But it basically gives you different properties of your weapons. You can do, like, for some people, you can do like an invincible attack where you're not knocked down during the attack frames. And what was one that was notable? For the great sword, silk bind, you can do is basically it will launch you onto the monster, and if your hit connects to the monster, you can do a follow-up, either slash or stab down. So that's like kind of the potential for a lot of the weapons. And then within that you have a lot of various options too, which is another aspect of the game called switch skills, which after playing with a few of the weapons, they like really drastically change the play style of the game for sure, which I think is definitely gonna make the game way more interesting for people to play and stuff like that. So there's like one that you can just tackle with a great sword, but with a switch skill, you could change that tackle to a blocking tackle, which I think you're a little bit slower, but at the same time, you can now tackle and block and attack at the same time, which is, totally opens up the game and like, gives you way more options, but also kind of caters to your play style as well. So it's a lot of potential for sure there. So, and I think that's another aspect too. Is like now with all that in mind, I feel like I've now started to branch out more than I normally have with a Monster Hunter game, where I'm starting to experiment with a lot of weapons at once more. I feel like now, generally, I've traditionally stuck with long sword and great sword for the most part, but now I'm like really starting to branch out, where I'm actually messing with hunting horn, which actually has kind of been for the most part, been my primary weapon now, which is it is after playing it for a good amount of time, it is like super OP in a lot of areas. You can like heal and buff your teammates while also doing a good amount of damage on your own, which I think that's the biggest appeal to like what otherwise was like a kind of very, very niche weapon. But I think you'll see a lot of people actually embracing the hunting horn now, especially like tier lists are like ranking it at S. I think it's the hunting horn and the longsword are technically the S ranked tiered weapons. At least it seems like, at least in the conversation so far. But yeah, so I'm thoroughly enjoying the hell out of this. I'm hunter rank 4, so I think 6 is probably the max. It could be 7, but I know there's probably going to be some end game or high end or G rank. At least that's the old school terminology for the high rank stuff. But we'll see how that plays out. But at least they definitely confirm we're definitely gonna get DLC. And if Monster Hunter World is any indication, I think it's gonna be a very steady stream of DLC we're gonna get in terms like monsters. I assume high rank, unless they might pull the good old tried and true Capcom way of doing a Monster Hunter Rise EX upper left uppercut Omni slash Alpha Booty Omega. So I don't know. Yeah, it's probably gonna be Monster. Let's speculate real quick. Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter Rise. I guess Ultimate. It seems like Ultimate has like been the consistent theme for the next version of Monster Hunter. Or I mean, if Iceborne's any example, they could probably go that route too. I'm guessing since this game is supposed to be coming out on PC a year from now, I think that's when we'll probably get the EX booty butt Omega Alpha EX riding hard version. Yeah, because that's pretty much what happened with Iceborne. It was like roughly maybe 2 years after. No, I think it was probably a year. Let me check. Monster Hunter World. Let's see the wiki. Monster Hunter World. And let's see. So 2019, I think Monster Hunter came out 2018. Yeah, January 2018. So, yeah, roughly about a year, give or take. So, yeah, I think that's probably going to happen. It seems very likely. I see the potential. It could definitely happen. Yeah, I feel like that's how they're going to hold the DLC, but we'll see. Hopefully Capcom be nice and like, implement crossplay between at least PC and Switch, and then we might get at least cross progression, or at least transfer of your character, which would be great too. I mean, cross progression would be the best situation. It's time Monster Hunter needs to start doing that, embracing that. We missed out on World. I think it will be a great testament to try that now that I guess technically the other consoles aren't like, I guess, a issue. We'll see. I mean, definitely the Switch has done that before. At least now that with what Diablo 2 coming out, they're gonna do that. So I think that's very likely. We'll see. What else outside of that? I think that's pretty much, yeah. It's probably, I guess it's hard to say, but it's definitely the best Monster Hunter to date. I could definitely say that. Yeah, as overall package coming out, I guess I don't think that's fair to compare it directly to Monster Hunter World, considering that it had a year and released a full DLC pack, which fully fleshed out that game. But I think comparing this to Monster Hunter World, I think Rise is definitely the best Monster Hunter game to date. Yeah, I think I could say that. I'm thoroughly enjoying it so far. Maybe check back in with me in maybe a couple months from now. That might be my, recency bias, where something that's recently in your head compared to something else, that association is not as strong. So of course you're gonna think that the game is better. But from what I've played and just overall feel, I can definitely see myself playing this for a long time to come, especially with their at least supposed roadmap of additional DLC and characters and stuff like that. So yeah. So also the monsters are really great too. Like all the new monsters are really cool. Which you have to give Capcom credit in terms of just like kind of similar to Pokemon, where they have to keep getting these good ideas and trying to do they make sense? Are they actually good? Where Pokemon has had some very suggestive additions, like a keychain. Really? Is that I'm catching a keychain? What? Come on, Game Freak. Why I gotta catch a keychain? What am I gonna do with a keychain? Keychain use unlock. Keychain use cut. What? Either way, hopefully, I think Capcom has a lot more flexibility with their monster. We don't have to make just literal objects. Ugh. I know there's a lot more ridiculous ones that at least haven't come to mind, but a damn keychain. you got freaking Charizard fighting a damn keychain. Charizard just like, really? You really? A flamethrower. But I digress. Yeah, so loving Monster Hunter Rise. I'm not sure if I said my playtime, at least from what I checked. I'm like 40 hours in, so, and I'm only on Hunter rank 4. So I've been thoroughly enjoying it though. I've been finding all the secret stuff, unlocking the sub camps similar to Monster Hunter World and things like that. So thoroughly enjoying it, very much so. Very great, very great. It delivered, definitely delivered. I see the comparisons now. Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. That's pretty bold. Like, what I heard a lot of published media was saying like this is basically the next best thing next to Breath of the Wild. I'm like, damn, that's a very powerful statement. Which I'd agree. I mean, to be honest, I've only put It's my game of shame, but only put 20 hours in Zelda. I've never gotten back to it, but I do plan to at some point. Yeah. So there you have it, Monster Hunter World. I mean, Rise. Hopefully, I've not been saying that wrong every time I've said it, but Monster Hunter Rise. Also love the as a fan of like the feudal era of Japan. Love all the it's definitely the inspiration aesthetic they're going for with this game, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. Overall, man, great game. I do recommend it if you're into Monster Hunter. If you're not, I don't. If you're not really a Monster Hunter fan and tried World and didn't like it either, I'm not sure this would change your mind, because it has a lot of what World had, but with the addition of just great mobility now. So yeah. Other than that, that's pretty much all of what I've been playing. So there you go. Let's get into what I've been watching, which is Attack on Titan. I did watch the final episode. Was pretty good. It's still it was good. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest issue I'm having with how it ended, or quote unquote ended, is that now there's still, the season isn't over, but at least supposedly the word on the street is that it's gonna be like a year and a half until we actually get the final finality of the season. So it's like, what? No, I think it was something that like the manga isn't even over yet or something like that, to my understanding. So I guess I could read the manga, but I don't want to, to be honest. But just want to see it in animated form. See it. I want to see, Aaron just get mad and Levi, be smug. I don't know. It hurts a little bit, not gonna lie. Just want some closure to that, but just gonna have to wait. Keep them blue balls until a year and a half from now. So yeah. Walking Dead. I'm trying to remember what episode. What episode was this? I guess that's a testament to how much I've been enjoying The Walking Dead. So I'm trying to remember the episode. I guess what's kind of confusing, that it keeps jumping from person to person. Okay, I remember it. Yeah, this episode was Carol. Well, it was mainly focused on Carol, kind of Daryl as well. But basically they split their two paths, and it's like basically just showing the struggles they're going through without being with each other, more or less. So it's definitely hitting at a Daryl Carol romance. What's the shipping name for Carol and Daryl? I mean, it could be either or, right? Carol or Daryl. Wow, that does make sense. But yeah, I guess it seemed to feel more focused on Carol, where she's having the struggles of trying to help out, coming back to the base. I think they went back to, what was it called? King Ezekiel's location, but I think they disbanded that. But basically you have, is his name not Rick, but Jerry, who was kind of consoling her and things like that. And it was, I'm not gonna lie, I did feel like yet another filler episode, where it feel like, oh man, they're really trying to stretch this last season out or whatever. Yeah, it's hard to not say it's not a filler episode. It felt like we could have done without it, but I enjoyed it. It was fine. I just felt like, yeah, I feel like they're milking this season a little too much, but we'll see next episode, because boy, I think this is the episode like literally every Walking Dead fan wanted to some extent. I'm not sure if they explored this in the comics or not, but basically, next episode is going to be Negan's like origin story, which I think everybody was curious about, if anything. So we'll actually see Negan, how he came to be Negan, and the origin story of Lucille and all that. So I am very, very interested in at least at least next week's episode for sure, or this coming Sunday. So yeah. Then also Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Boy, this episode was crazy. It's actually was what I wanted, at least from what was being hinted at with the show. So we got some good payoffs, at least spoilers for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But boy, man, they definitely they were not shy or coy about racism. At least from a I guess from a Marvel standpoint. I mean, they didn't go out like straight out right with it, but I guess they kind of did, actually, to be honest, because at least probably the biggest, I'd say, moment of the episode is that we got to see the actual Black Captain America. What was his name? How did I forget his name? Elijah, I think that's his son. Wow, I am very sad that I don't remember that. I think his son is Elijah. Wow, how do I not remember that? Isaiah, I think that's right. Isaiah. Yeah, Isaiah Bradley. Okay, I had to be sure. I think his son is Elijah, who's the Patriot, who comes to be the Patriot. Yeah, Elijah Eli. Okay, I had to make sure. Didn't want to get that wrong. So, yeah. So you saw Elijah Bradley, who was, at least in the comics, I think the 2003 comics, where they showed his story. He actually was like, the unsung hero, the kind of like I like to compare it to a Big Boss from Metal Gear Solid 3, like the person who went through a lot of shit but got no credit, nothing to show for it, more or less. So yeah, man, like he was getting operated on and tested, and he was like the only surviving soldier through all these experiments that they did on black people, because they were, quote unquote expendable. So whew, man, that was a tough episode. But he was pissed off. He's like, hey, he's like, I got your arm, didn't I? He was talking that shit to the Winter Soldier. He's like, I just wanted to see the most pettiest stuff. The only reason I wanted to see you was to see if you got that arm back, because I fucked your arm up. I fucked your arm up, Bucky. That was good. That was very good. I love that so much. But yeah, he was so pissed. He freaking he threw like a a dollar store tin can and lodged that boy right into a damn wall. I'm like, yeah, that dude got some strength. So it felt good. That felt good. At least start talking about like the controversial, issues of being a black superhero, which I personally at least appreciated. Because you never necessarily see that on TV. At least it's starting to become more, mainstream now. But, in general, that's always been a more or less issue, if you will. But, yeah. So, And then like right after that, of course, police, because they don't know he's an Avenger, they were very immediately suspicious, and we're about to arrest the Falcon. But then come to find out, they end up arresting Bucky because I think he skipped his therapy, or his I guess his court mandated therapy. So there was all of that, but and I forgot about they also provided more backstory to fake Captain America, not my Captain America. What's his name? Damn it, I forgot his name. You know what I mean. He's not even that important. I don't even want to look him up because it's not that important. But yeah. So we got Dollar Store General Captain America. we got the secondhand brand Captain America. It was cool though. They showed a bit of his story, his upbringing. He had at least they made it seem like he had a very similar like upbringing as to Chris Evans Captain America, but he it seems like there's something they're not telling us, which I'm pretty sure they're gonna probably reveal at least before the end of this series. But yeah, I still don't like him. He's doing some questionable stuff that Steve Rogers wouldn't do. So I don't know about that. I don't like him. I don't like him. He may have got Bucky out of jail, but I don't like him. I don't like him. He doesn't add up. Sums off, and I don't like it. Not my Captain America. But yeah, man, I am, at least so far, 3 episodes in so far, thoroughly enjoying this series. It's maybe not on WandaVision levels of it, but I necessarily wasn't expecting that, because I mean that did set the bar in terms of just straight up good TV. But I mean, this is like literally a Marvel movie in TV format, more or less, which I am thoroughly enjoying so far. At least the plot developments and questions we're waiting to get answered, speculating on. I'm loving it. So then, oh man, out of nowhere, Invincible. It's on Amazon Prime Video. Oh man, this is I a part of me doesn't want to. I'll try to dance around some stuff, but I guess the best comparison I will give you is basically literally The Boys in animated form, which I don't want to be that like general about it, but that's probably the best way to kind of provide a good frame of reference in terms of what to expect. Cause boy, I was not expecting what happened. Maybe I just didn't think they would go there, but they did, which is crazy to me. But then at the same time, I was like, oh yes, I'm kind of loving this. It's just like a breath of fresh air, because we don't really see too many superhero related stuff, movies, media that kind of explores the dark side of media, like, the weird kind of gray line, if you will. Like, what if you have all this power in the world similar to Superman, but you are actually evil, and you're using it more or less for bad and political stuff and gains and stuff like that. So very fascinating. I am totally on board, down with it. I think the first 3 episodes premiered last week, so I think it's now just going to be a 1 episode week type deal. But I'm invested, let me tell you. Okay. Whoo boy, as somebody who never read the comics, again, from Robert Kirkman, who of course also made the Walking Dead series. Yeah, I am loving just not knowing any frame of reference of the comics and just watching this fully blind. Cause boy, yeah, I was not expecting what happened. I do not want to spoil it because it is very good, and oh man, I'll just say they set it up so well in terms of how everything how everything impacted. They set it up very well, where everything was like very hunky dory and I guess kind of similar to The Boys, if that gives you any indication. But how they set it up just really threw you off guard. It really did, and it was very good, very good. Oh man, yeah, I like. At least going into it, I'm like, let me watch this first episode, see what this is about. What is this about? And then right after the end of the first episode, I'm like, okay, yep, I gotta watch the second episode immediately, and then the third one. So I was like, yeah, very good. I do recommend it if you're into superhero movies. Invincible, very good, very very good. I am thoroughly enjoying it so far. So, and then weirdly, for just randomly, freaking Family Guy. I've dropped off of Family Guy for like I don't know how many years now. I'm starting to start watching and catch up to the current season now, and man, just some of the. I just love their type of humor. It's, I mean, for people who haven't watched Family Guy or haven't been familiar with Family Guy, and I don't know how long, but it just captures the random, specific comedy that I do really like, where it's just the most random stuff that also I think most people don't think about, but when you do think about it in retrospect, it's kind of funny as hell when you think about it. They seem to have just that knack and essence of like capturing that like no other show has really captured, like Simpsons and other shows. I mean, even South Park, where it's like, I don't want to say smart humor or witty humor, but I guess it's kind of a little bit of that, but like just stuff you would never think about or like factor in, they totally comment on, and like just the accuracy is like what also makes it more hilarious too, at least to me personally. So I've been thoroughly enjoying the hell out of that series, because man, I've loved that series growing up and watching it, but totally fell off, and I was like, let me catch back up. So I've been that's probably the most I've been watching at least over the weekend since last episode. So what am I on? Season 16, I want to say now, and it seems like they've coincidentally been going with each year, I think, because they technically started in 2000, I want to say. So that's kind of funny. So it's kind of getting references to things back at the certain times now, and kind of getting a little I don't know, capsule, if you will, time capsule of looking back at things. So that's been kind of cool. Other than that, that's pretty much what I've been up to. So there you go. Yeah, man, good times, good times. Well, I think that will conclude it. If I can always forget. I think that will conclude episode 98. Switch of sites. If you're listening on your favorite podcasting platforms, feel free to like, rate, subscribe. You can also catch me on Twitter at aswitch. You can also catch archives of this podcast on youtube.com/aswitch. You can also catch this show live on Twitch TV/aswitch as well. And until next time, guys, don't cough. Don't touch people that don't want to be touched. Get your game on. Aw, yeah. Nobody's safe.